everybody, welcome back to the shed. I'm Troy. This is Dave. Today we're going to talk about the top 3 live rock albums of all time. Now, I need to start off by saying I'm not a huge fan of live albums.
I am.
Because I would much rather hear the recorded version, unless I'm at a concert, that's different, but there's only a few live albums that I really listen to over and over and over.
I love live albums. To me, it is the confirmation of how great a band was.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, but a lot of bands, they'll overdub.
Well, that's true, and I could give you a whole handful of albums.
One of my albums is very much overdub, is what I've heard anyway.
Why don't you start?
Well, I'll start, okay. I think my number 3 is, well, I don't think I know. My number 3 is Tesla 5-Man Acoustical Jam. I love that album. They also put out a VHS version of the whole concert. And
was that an MTV Unplugged?
No, this was before. I think this somewhat inspired MTV Unplugged, because they were playing their rock songs and some acoustic songs they had, but they were doing it live, acoustic styles. That's why it's called 5-Man Acoustical Jam. It's taken from the name 5-Man Acoustical Band.
No, it was taken from 5-Man Electrical Band.
5-Man Electrical Band. That's the first time I'd ever heard that song. You know, it made it popular again.
You're so freaking young. No, signs everywhere. That was a band called 5-Man Electrical Band, and then of course Tesla covered it and made it huge. But
yeah,
he's so young and he doesn't understand history.
But that's a great album, because it came out in the early '90s, and I listened to that all the time. I watched the video. I had the VHS, and I watched the video all the time. I loved Tesla back in the day. I still love Tesla. They came to Waco probably, I think it was the mid-90s, and they played at, I think, Graham Central Station.
I heard about that place.
And they're an awesome live band, and they can still rock good, man. The singer, remarkably, he can still sing and scream just like he used to sing back in the day. But they did some Beatles songs on that live album, and it's so well produced. So that's my number 3. What's your number 3?
I'd have to say Led Zeppelin, but I'm not going to go with Song Remains the Same, because of course that's the first Zeppelin live we all got, and it was, it was great. I mean, I still love that album, but it wasn't until later when Jimmy Page went back and got all these tapes and produced them, and there was an album called How the West Was Won. It's superior to Song Remains the Same in my mind, and the production that Jimmy did on it was freaking awesome, and it really caught them. I think it was recorded at the LA Forum, maybe in '72, and it's just the best Zeppelin live today.
I'll have to take a listen to that one. I don't. When did that come out?
Came out about maybe 10 years ago, maybe.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe in 2008 or 9 or something like that.
But it was old recordings that he re-released?
Well, he got the tapes from a lot of people and was able to go in there and, clean them up, and it's the best Zeppelin live. So what's yours?
Number 2. Why can't I remember this shit? My number 2 would be a band from the 70s, Kiss, Alive 2.
Not Alive 1.
Well, I think it's Alive 2 that really put him over the top. I don't remember. Maybe it's Alive 1, maybe it's Alive 2. It's one of those. I don't remember.
Kiss Alive came out probably in '76 or something like that.
Maybe it is Alive 1. I could be wrong. It's one of those. Anyway, I love that album. I loved Kiss back in the day, but I did hear that they overdubbed the hell out of it. Like, clean things up and make things sound much better than they actually were, because they're more of a theatrical band live anyway. You know, they're okay musicians, but I think to make them sound the way they want, especially Gene wanted them to portray themselves, they took those live tapes and went in the studio and overdubbed a bunch of stuff. I still love that album. It's one of my favorites for sure.
I think I have the book in my house. I had the signed book by Dick Wagner. Dick Wagner was this, great guitar player who overdubs some Aerosmith stuff, and he played with Lou Reed on that album, where it's probably my favorite Lou Reed album. But I heard that he did a lot of overdubs on Kiss Alive as well, but I might be wrong. But
I don't know. I do know a lot of the later Kiss albums in the 70s, they would have ringers come in and sort of like play for Ace, especially because Ace was like drunk all the time, and Peter Criss. I think even for Peter Criss, they had some different drummers come in and play some stuff.
So that's your number two.
That's my number two. That's my number two. Yeah.
Okay.
A fake live album. A fake live album is my number two. So what's yours?
One of the greatest live albums of all time is The Who Live at Leeds. The Who had some other live stuff, but man, Live at Leeds is just so killer.
See me, feel me, touch me.
And there's only like 7 songs on an album, and only like 3 of them are Who songs, and the rest are like, Johnny Cochran song. I remember Johnny Cochran, Eddie Cochran. Johnny Cochran sang with OJ. No, Eddie Cochran. Summertime Blues is what I'm trying to think of.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good song, man. Oh,
that album was so freaking killer. It's a single album, and it's just The Who at their pinnacle, I think. Well, you can say that after, a few albums after that, they really hit. I love The Who for the whole span. But
is there video to go with that live album?
I'm not sure.
I saw some live Who stuff, because I've never been a really, really big Who fan, but I saw some video from a concert in the 70s, and I was like, oh, man. Keith Moon is insane on those drums. Like non-stop.
And Pete's to me, one of my favorite guitar players. He's not a shredder, but he just plays up the neck and he just does it. He fills the song and he sings a lot of songs. But Live at Leeds is my number two.
That's a great one. My number one is Tom Petty, Pack the Plantation. Pack Up the Plantation. Is that what it's called? Pack Up the Plantation.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
The first time I heard a live song from that album was with my friend Kirk Ledbetter. Maybe you're watching this. He played the live version of Breakdown, where the audience basically sings the whole song.
Sure.
Oh my God. I was like, what is this? And I wasn't even a huge Tom Petty fan at that time. I think I knew some Tom Petty songs, but he's the one who, my friend Kirk, he's the one who turned me on to Tom Petty. And we would get in his car and we would ride around town, and he played that Breakdown song full volume. And to hear the crowd sing this song, and Tom just kind of stand back and listen to it, and and play along and have the crowd, it was amazing. I'm surprised over the years he didn't do that again, because anytime I've ever heard that song live in concert, he's never done that before, to that particular song anyway.
We kind of did it with The Waiting too. I mean, to me that's like one of my favorite Tom Petty songs, and that version on Pack Up the Plantation, and I have the album. I mean, I actually have the vinyl on it. I love Tom Petty's live album. I've got the 4-disc set, which is all like Tom Petty stuff from the beginning to the end. If that collection, if you're a Tom Petty's fan, that's a consummate,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
live album. It covers from like really, literally like from the 70s all the way up through the 2000s.
I don't have it. I guess you're gonna have to let me borrow it.
Well, I'll never get it back.
Probably not. Southern, the song Southern Accents. I love that song, and I've started to love it even more.
Now that drunk can't get it, friend. It's just a motel room.
So that's my number one. What's your number one, Dave?
The greatest live album of all time. Allman Brothers live at Fillmore East. I actually have that album as an album, you know, like vinyl. And then later when CDs came out, I bought it on CD because I loved it so much. And then when the expanded, you know, version came out, I had to buy that one. So I've got like 3 copies.
You didn't do the cassette version?
No, I got a killer stereo in there, man. I bought
No 8-track. No 8-track.
I had a lot of 8-tracks back in the day, and I probably could have had that on 8-track, but no, I mean, Fillmore East is the best live album ever.
Sunday I go to church, yeah. Go to line down.
I mean, there's nothing that can be said that it's superlative at this point, but Greg Allman singing, you got Duane Allman, you got, you know, Dickie Betts, you get the whole band, and it's just tour de force stuff. And I mean, a lot of jam. I mean, 30 minutes on. Hotlanta is like 30 minutes on. But anyways, that's the greatest shit of all time, man, right there. If you like the rock and you like the jam and you want to hear the 2 greatest, you know, guitars and greatest singer and the greatest rhythm section, it's Fillmore East, baby. Warren Haynes, who filled in later when Dickie wasn't playing with the band, and they had a whole run, and then of course, you know, they had Derek Trucks, who's the epitome of Duane Allman, the greatest slide player probably on the planet. The original Fillmore East recording, which I think came out in '71,
Wow.
and Duane died like...
I was 0 years old. In 71.
Yeah, you weren't even a twinkle in your daddy's eye,
I was
man.
a twinkle.
But
I
there-
was twinkling.
but there is nothing like that album, and it was recorded over a couple nights at the at Fillmore. But it's the greatest.
So let us know what your top 3 live albums are of all time. Leave a comment below. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. Also like this or dislike it. I really don't care. You can dislike the video, whatever. Doesn't really matter. But like it. And we'll see you next time on In the Shed.
Adios.